All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, and welcome to the first episode of Unscripted for 2024. Already in the chat, friend of the channel, Connie Cleary, the bird woman of YouTube, host of Films with Friends, and the creator of the 10-word review, Big Al Presents. Friend of the channel, Deep Henzak. I hope you all had a great weekend. I know, right? I want to welcome everyone behind the scenes watching the show on Twitter. Please say hello in the comments. Hit the like, share the stream, and all that good stuff because it helps the algorithm. All right. Well, I hope you all had a good week. It was certainly a busy one for me, and it's going to get busier, and I'll tell you all about that at the end of the show. Now, everyone who watches this show knows that I am not a fan of Star Wars, or at least let me qualify that. Present day Star Wars. So a lot of the news that's been discussed here on YouTube over the past week, Charmaine Obeid Sonoy's comments, John Rocha of Collider's comments, honestly, or to me, not a big surprise. This is the way that Disney wants to go with Star Wars. And as far as I am concerned, they can have it. And hello to Rosefire. And Aged Boomer. Geeky Geezers. In less than an hour. Follow me over there. I'll be in the chat. Boomer says present day Star Wars needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Very true. Very true. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this for the reasons that I gave. Star Wars in its present form is not meant for me. Hashtag walk away. That's what I want everyone to remember. And when it comes to Star Wars, I have chosen to walk away. Now, Obed Chinoy's comments, some of them have been taken out of context. Now, she did a lot of, some of the comments that have been attached to her directing Star Wars actually have to do with a documentary that she did about honor killings in quote unquote honor killings in Pakistan. Obviously, none of us wants anything like that to happen. So if she's going to make a film that's going to shed light on true abusive behavior that's going on, then I find that very noble indeed. Now, what I don't understand is, what does any of that have to do with Star Wars? You can ask this woman about abuses that are going on in Pakistan, and I'm willing to hear her out. You know, that because there are places in that country where women truly are being treated like third-class citizens, and it's not right, and it shouldn't be happening. But again, and as D. Penzak says in the chat, what does that have to do with Star Wars? Now, I have not once heard this woman talk about why she likes Star Wars. What was her favorite movie? What are her favorite characters? How does one character interact with another? This is what I need to hear out of someone who's going to direct a Star Wars movie. And at this particular point in time, all we have heard is this woman's activist rhetoric. And that does not bode well. And hello to Jedi Bill. Rosefire says a modern SW isn't for Gothic Victorian classic literature Jewish nerd bibliophile like myself either. Yeah. There's a distinct difference between real-life men who physically abuse women and fictional men running around with lightsabers. Right, because one thing is not the other. Now, if you want to shed light on men who are abusing women, if you want to make a film about that, please, by all means, do so. Shed light on criminal behavior. Because you know what? A real man doesn't need to hit a woman. And if you are a man who is in an abusive relationship with a woman, get out of that. Because you don't deserve that. But again, the question at hand, what does that have to do with Star Wars? It has nothing to do with Star Wars. That's the thing. Now, this woman certainly qualified to make a documentary film. She's clearly an academic type. That's how she comes off. But I don't see what her qualifications are to direct a Star Wars film. I'm not saying she can't. I'm not saying she shouldn't. I'm saying, what are this person's qualifications based on the work that she has done? Now, the closest thing that she has done to Star Wars is 2 episodes of the Ms. Marvel series. Now, from what I understand about the Ms. Marvel series, was the episode she directed had to be completely reshot, which, again, doesn't bode well. But then again, that's what Disney goes for. You have a director shoot 80% of the movie, then decide they want to make a change. Now you got to spend $300 million more to shoot the movie over again, or shoot the TV series over again. We, the movie-going public, are smart. We are going to see through that. We can tell when a movie is edited within an inch of its life. We can tell when a movie is reshot because it's not going to match. This woman is not the director. She's being cast as a director. Because that's what Disney does. The chat is jumping. I don't want to ignore you. I don't think she's ever watched Star Wars ever and doesn't like it, even if she has seen it. Well, based on what she said so far, she certainly doesn't come off that way. Hell, a woman operated the ion cannon controls in the Hoth base. I don't recall any women being sidelined in an SW film. No. I felt disturbed knowing an activist has given this much influence in culture. Will Disney hire the director of WHO next? Maybe. And hello, Reed by Nature. Good to see you. I recall some capable, intelligent women in the Clone Wars series, be they Jedi or diplomats. The Clone Wars series, for what it is fine. But I look at it through different eyes now. Well said. It's all check marks and politics-driven agendas, true. And hello, JPRPH1. All right. Now, like I said, I didn't want to spend the entire show on this, but this is an opinion show where I give my opinion on news of the week. And despite the fact that I could care less when it comes to Star Wars anymore, I did have to put in my 2 cents on it. Now, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy can continue making documentary films all of her life. If she wants to branch out and make features, fine. I don't see what her qualifications are to do a Star Wars film. On the other hand, and again, I have said this before, Star Wars as a franchise is grossly overrated. Outside of the OT, and I am talking about the theatrical version of the OT, 1977 to 1983. To me, that is Star Wars. All else, in my opinion, is fan fiction and is not canon and should be ignored. So Kathleen Kennedy can hire whoever she wants to direct a Star Wars movie I'm not going to watch. Not because the director is a woman or an activist, but simply because I am not interested. Walk away while it's closed. I stick by those 2 hashtags. Read by Nature says, I thought I had heard that she was sued by someone who was the subject of one of her docs. If true, that throws doubt to even her documentary credentials. This is the first I'm hearing of that. But if someone came off looking bad in a documentary, they're going to get litigious. You know, that's something that's a risk that you take making a documentary and taking one side or another. And hello to Troy. Last caller, Troy Pacelli. It's not even fan fiction. It's cultural vandalism by Marxist POSs. Yes, I agree. Oddly enough, I've read fan fiction stories that have been much more entertaining than some SW films, and they're free. Yeah, I'm not somebody who reads a whole lot of fan fiction. The only time I ever really got into fan fiction was the fan fiction that surrounded the Person of Interest TV series. And seeing the direction that some of those stories took Some of those I thought there were some fan fiction stories that I thought equaled what was on the show. So I mean, the fact that I think any one of us could come up with a better Star Wars movie than what we've been seeing. And hello, Netters Network. And hello to Lee Anthony Davis joining us from the Twitter side. Good to see you once again, sir. All right. Now, Netter's leaving her hi, sweeties. All right. Now, let's put that aside for a moment. And getting to the comments that were made by John Rocha of Collider on his Hot Mic show with Jeff Snyder. I have to be honest. Again, I am not a Collider fan. I think they're shills. I think they're Access Media. This is not the first time that they've gone after fans, not just of Star Wars, but of other franchises. The only one at Collider that I have any who is involved with Collider that I have any true respect for is John Schnepp. Unfortunately, he is no longer with us, and Collider has gone down the road that it's gone. Now, hearing this garbage come out of the mouth of John Rocha, it's not a surprise to me. Again, he's preaching to his own audience. John Campea does the same. And look, I have said before on this channel that I'm not going to go after other YouTubers. But if you talk this kind of smack, I am going to come at you, because you are denigrating not only the people that you're taking the shots at, you're insulting your own fans right after they have asked you questions in a super chat. That's people giving their hard-earned money to you, and you disrespect them. And that's what pisses me off. If this guy can throw all the insults out that he wants, but the one thing that you do not do is insult your own fan base. And that's why I'm angry. An insult thrown at one of us is thrown at all of us. And I will not accept it. Not from some punk at Collider. Read by Nature says, I used to watch Collider and Collider Heroes. Unironically, I watched it from Campea and Snap, RIP. Campea was a letdown when he went solo. Yeah, especially of late. I mean, Campea went down. It can't look. The thing about Campea, and again, I don't want to dwell on this, is he's Access Media. And maybe Collider didn't start out that way. I don't know. When I first came onto YouTube, I watched a lot of Collider. I don't now. I watch none of it now, because I see it for what it's become. And hello to Lady V Elements, my stalker. Good to have you here. Nice to see so many familiar names here in the first show of 2024. Thank you. Rosefire says, after you come back from the dentist or mechanic, you get several emails literally begging you for feedback. Now we're telling the entertainment industry exactly what we want, and they're blind to death. Exactly. They don't get it. They don't get that we don't want to sit here all day and complain about how bad a movie The Marvels might have been, or how bad a Disney Plus Star Wars show is. We have other things that we want to do with our time. We want to see these shows do well. And if they are made in this rushed, shoddy manner just to get content out there, then it's going to fail. Now, and D. Penzak has put this in the chat. Hashtag walk away. I also want to add hashtag wallets closed. Because that's what we've got to do. If they're not going to listen, if they would rather insult us than hear us out, then we will hit them in the way that they understand, and that is in the wallet. When their movies tank, when their stock goes so far down into the dumper that they're going to see themselves sitting next to the Duke brothers, for those of you who get that reference, then that's the way that they're going to go. I would rather watch News Network jackhammer concrete than watch anything Disney. At this point, yeah, so would I. You do not deserve that kind of abuse. You don't need to swallow those kind of insults. These people hold absolutely no moral authority over you. If you're going to be disrespected, close your wallet and walk away. I've already walked away from Star Wars. They can have it. Some jerk off from Collider can go and say whatever he wants. I'm not going to be there to sit and listen. Walk away. I'm taking Dave Cullen's advice. Because there's no point in it. Go and seek out the entertainment that is good. We have 100 years to fall back on. Have you watched any of the anime turn live action shows or movies? Have any of them appeal to you? I want to see One Piece, but I want to see some of the animated episodes first, kind of get an idea of what I'm getting into. And I do have the Blu-ray for the One Piece movie, One Piece Red, that also has like 3 episodes of the series, the animated series on it. I want to watch that. So I'm very curious about One Piece because I've heard a lot of good things. I like the Lita Battle Angel. Now, I understand that there are differences between the manga and the anime and the film, but I liked it. You know, I I'm starting to wonder if we're ever going to get a sequel in my lifetime, but we'll see. So those are definitely at the top of the list for me. All right. I spend a little too much time on that subject. I only wanted that to be the first 10 minutes of the show, but I wanted to break down how I felt about it point by point. And, the final score there is Lucasfilm has the right to hire whoever they want to direct a Star Wars movie, but we reserve the right not to watch it for whatever reason. Collider, or the people who or work for Collider who want to come on YouTube and mouth off at people. Freedom of speech. I don't have to be there to listen. Now, what I really wanted this show to be this week was to touch base with you in the chat. So I hope that you have some questions ready, because now is the time. You can ask me any question you want within reason. Of course. Let's see. I watched you Hakusho back when it was on Toonami. Read mixed reviews about the live action version. It's highly compressed, so may appeal to some who don't want to watch the entire anime. Which is true, because anytime that I try to watch an anime series that's kind of more than a few episodes, I start to lose track after a while. I can never get through them. So, I stick to things like Hellsing Ultimate or Samurai 7 or Cowboy Bebop, something that I know, after a certain point comes to an end. And hello to Brandon, the anime guy. Yeah. Anime does at times come up on my show. But hey, you're the man. Any anime question, I go, Brandon's my go-to guy for that if I have any questions. And hello to FK8C 2005. Tim, good to see you. All right. Question is, any rare title you're looking to add to your film collection? Well, I tell you, and this is one that I've brought up before. There's a 4K for the David Cronenberg film Existence. That's out right now. That's a limited edition. I'd like to get a hold of that. There are a couple of Westerns that I've seen recently, and by recently I mean in the last couple of days, that now have 4Ks that I would like to get a hold of. And in fact, I am glad that you brought that up, because I'm going to go ahead and do my physical media segment here real quick. And I am going to bring up two of those movies right now that I have Blu-rays for, but are now on 4K. And the first one that I want to bring up is Quigley Down Under with Tom Selleck from 1990, also starring Laura San Giacomo, Alan Rickman, and a young Ben Mendelsohn. And I didn't realize until I saw this movie again yesterday that he was even in the movie. He's barely recognizable. He's got red hair. You know, it's amazing. American sharpshooter takes a job in Australia and finds out that it's not all it's cracked up to be. And he winds up tangling with this land baron. Lady V Element says Rickman is the real MVP. He's great in this. This was the next movie he did after Die Hard, or one of the first ones that he did right after Die Hard. So Quigley Down Under, check it out. Another fact that I found out about this movie that I didn't know was that it was actually written 15 years before it became a movie. It was originally written with Steve McQueen in mind to play Quigley, but by that point he was too sick to do the film. Clint Eastwood was offered the lead, turned it down. Harrison Ford was also someone who was considered to be the lead, but he also turned it down, which is ironic because, as you remember, Tom Selleck was the original choice to play Indiana Jones. But when CBS went and let him out of his contract for Magnum to go and do that, that's when they got Harrison Ford. Now the reverse has happened. Harrison Ford turns this down. Tom Selleck winds up making the movie, and it's a cult classic. It's a very underrated film, and it doesn't get brought up a lot. And whenever I get a chance to find this on 4K, I can scrape up the extra money to go out and get the 4K. That's what I'm going to do. Now, another movie that's very underrated that I wanted to bring up. Okay, well, hold on. First, we got a question. Jesse says, Quigley Down Under, does that movie have a sequel or prequel movies? Unfortunately, they don't. And it should have had a sequel. It deserved a sequel, and it never got one. Lady V Element says, I think it was supposed to. I think they were talking about a sequel at one point. Unfortunately, never got to it. Read by Nature said, I've heard a few people lately talk about Quigley. I need to watch that. Please do. Please check it out. It actually is, if you do not have a physical copy, and I do suggest either going out and getting the Blu-ray or even better yet, the 4K. If you can't swing that right now, I understand. Go out and it's here for free on YouTube. It'll have ads, but give it a look. Now, he says it's on Tubi and Freevee. I'm sure it probably is. I'd have to look. All right. The other movie I want to bring up is the movie that Jedi Bill and I watched earlier for Western Cinema Presents, and that is Old Henry with Tim Blake Nelson and Stephen Dorff. Excellent movie. It's a kind of a father and son story about a farmer whose son wants to go to town and be a gunslinger and all that, and his father is trying to hold him back from that. And then they find a wounded man on their property, has a satchel full of money. They take him back to their farm, patch him up as best they can. Then a sheriff shows up saying, this guy's a wanted man. You have to turn him over. And I don't want to say anything about it more than that. Because a lot of twists and turns at the end of this one. Old Henry. It's from 2021. It's one of the best movies of that year. And if there were any justice, it should have been nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Also, Best Actor, Supporting Actor, Director, and Screenplay, and Cinematography. Old Henry. Yeah, don't make you cry again. Okay. Yeah, it's a tearjerker, but it's a good one. Jesse says, just finished watching Doc West. I'm not familiar with that one. I'll have to check that out. Okay, on with the questions. Rosefire says, is there a failed or forgotten franchise you'd like to see redone properly in a miniseries or the big screen? Wow, that's a good question. I tell you, and this is going to sound weird, but stay with me for a minute. I would really like to see and I've actually thought about this. I want to see Space Mutiny get remade. But as like a serious film, not as a comedy, not as an unintentional comedy. And there is a way to do it. But that's one. I know that's not a franchise. It's a movie that went pretty much straight to video. But that's where my mind goes. I don't necessarily go to things that failed that could be redone. Jesse says SWAT Cats would be a great pick for a comeback. I'm not familiar with SWAT Cats, but okay. But yeah, I mean, there are things that I would like to see redone, or things that could have been done better. I can always think of shows that didn't last. Read by Nature asks, is there a book, game, anime, etc. you would like to see adapted as a movie? Yes. I read a book years ago called Nice. And it is kind of a dark romantic comedy between a hitman and a serial killer. And the story is this hitman, to kind of keep his shit quick, so to speak. He randomly follows this woman around one evening. He sees her leave her brownstone. She, goes out on a date. And then she kills the guy she goes on the date with. And that's when the hitman makes himself known to her, and he hides the body. And it becomes this weird kind of romantic thing between the two of them. Like I said, it's kind of a dark romantic comedy. And long story short, someone that she believes she's killed comes back for revenge. And then that's when things really start to get crazy. If you had like the right writer, if you had the right director, somebody who could get the tone of it right, you know, and keep present day politics out of it, because it wasn't about that. You know, if they can do that, I would really like to see that book get made into a movie. It would probably have to be like an independent film, because I don't think any of the big studios would want to touch it. So it would have to be like I could see it being done as like maybe like an $8 or $10 million independent film. It sounds like a good twist. It was a good twist. Yeah. Um, and hello to Dulcimerist. Dropping off a like. I'm multitasking, listening in the background. But good of you to be here. It's always good to see you. All right. Let me move up. D Penzek says Space 1999. Yeah, I could see Space 1999. I could see that being done again. Space Above and Beyond. That's one that I would like to see get revisited. I don't know if anybody remembers that series, but that was a good one. Rat Patrol, maybe. I could see Rat Patrol. Yeah, I could see that. I would like to see some kind of World War II set series. Rosefire says there was a Gem movie that bombed. I'd like to see a proper Gem and the Holograms set in the 80s, pink eyeshadow, big shoulder pads, and the killer soundtrack. Yeah. Yep. Thundercats has a better chance for a remake, but Warner Brothers writers suck at writing and doing their homework for the original series. Now, I know James McAvoy expressed some interest in doing a Thundercats film. I don't know what happened to that, though, if that's still a thing. I know that they were working on a Thundercats movie, but past James McAvoy's interests, I haven't heard anything else about it. So who knows? Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe if there are some people behind it who respect the source material, I'd watch it. Sure. And Lady V says I'd watch it. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Boomer says Space 2099. Maybe. And hello to Chi Rock Creations. Says, is Old Henry really that good? I think so. I do. You know, I wouldn't recommend it to you if I didn't think it was if I didn't think it was good. So yeah, I definitely give it a look. All right. I like Jason of Star Command, obscure TV show. I think James Doohan was in that show, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that's one I could see. I could see coming back. There was a show that it was a Canadian series, but it got shown here on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it went one season, and it was called. Well, here in America, it was called Mission Genesis. but the actual title was Deepwater Black. I would really like to see a decent Deepwater Black reboot. That had some interesting stuff in it, but like I said, it didn't last. Have you seen Alone in Berlin? I have not. Can't help you on that one. Uh, the Pensac says, I fondly remember Jason of Star Command. I remember it very vaguely. I was quite young at that time when that was on. Says, but I'll settle for a Diet Cola with a twist of lime for now. I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for Hollywood to grant my or anyone else's wishes. Yeah, I mean, you got, that's the problem, is you got to get somebody in Hollywood who will respect the source material, you know, and has the money and the moxie to pull it off. And that's where the problem lies, is we don't have that right now. No, please, no live action Thundercats movie. I don't know if they were even planning it as a live action necessarily. Nor at this point in time do I think there should be one. But I don't see any reason why they can't do an animated version. I'd love to see Brave Star adapted. Not familiar with Brave Star, but okay. Indeed, we need some decent high candy back on the big screen. Well, we do. Weapons concepts may be the most fun to play with. Johnny Quest could make a comeback as an action comedy series if done right. Yeah. But we had kind of an action comedy version of Johnny Quest, and that was called Adventure Brothers. And Adventure Brothers had a movie this year, and I didn't see it. I missed it. I gotta check it out. Yes, doing Max von Sydow or Sid Haig is the bad guy. I get those two mixed up. I think Julie Newmar was a villain in an episode. She was the best Catwoman. Yes, she was. I don't remember Max von Sydow being involved with I believe Sid Haig, more likely. But like I said, I'm not as familiar with the show as I would like to be. I need to go back and watch it. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. Yes. Yes. That definitely needs a decent reboot. And all of the original actors are still alive, so you can bring them back for a cameo. Power Rangers and Buffy need to come back too. Well, you'd have to ask the people to hold the rights to Power Rangers. As for Buffy, I can't see doing it without Whedon, and Whedon's been canceled. So, if they had some really strong writers behind it, maybe. Arc 2, okay. Sid Haig, yeah, I figured. It would be more likely Sid Haig. A Thundercats movie? Are you getting Andy Serkis voicing Snarf? Matthew Lillard wouldn't be bad either. Disney's Gargoyles series comeback would be awesome if done right. Yeah. I know writer Mark Zicree made his crowdfunded show Space Command. Wonder if it's a direct nod. Couldn't tell you. And I think Quest would be cool as a teen adventurer, for sure. I'm also hungry for new content. It can be based and inspired on classic fairy tales, horror stories, or real history, but I'm getting tired of redoing original stories. Okay, folks. Troy and Netters are heading off to Geeky Geezers. Geeky Geezers at the top of the hour. Aged Boomers channel. Follow me over there. I will be in the chat. What about Captain Planet? If they tone down the political rhetoric, yeah. Was Brave Star the early 80s animated on Saturday mornings? Might have been. Firefly needs to come back. Maybe, but for the same reasons I said about Buffy. To which Lady V says, Whedon was a slime ball. We can do better. Okay. Yeah, I guess. I don't know how much of what was said about him was true, but certainly some of it was. Yeah. God, no, I don't need a 2-hour film lecturing me on age, population control, and capitalism. There's a reason my mom banned that show from our house. I almost forgot about Dexter's Laboratory. It was another Filmation tune like He-Man, but a sci-fi western with a Native American sheriff as the title lead. Cool. We need a Voltron movie. Avengers Age of Voltron didn't even have Voltron. Cool. All right, folks. Well, if unless there's anything else, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. Lady V, Connie, Jesse, Troy, Netters, Al, Dulcimerist, Read by Nature, Rosefire, and everybody in the chat. This is when I wish I had Martin backstage. He can let me know everybody was in the chat. Yeah, Rosefire says to Jesse, my apologies for coming across quite harsh, but I rewatched some of those episodes. They're straight up propaganda telling kids that adults should be hearing instead. Yeah, there are some shows that did that. Another great show tonight. Thank you. Yes, you're welcome. And thank you, Rosefire. Chiraq Connie. Forget about Firefly coming back. Disney owns it now. Yeah, that's true too. Is that Disney's calling the shots over Firefly? So I don't think we're likely to see it. All right. All right. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Unscripted will continue throughout the year. So join me next week. All right. Hit the like. Say hello in the comments. I would like to thank everybody who watches the replay. Hit the like. Share out the stream. Say hello in the comments. I want to thank everyone watching on Twitter, because there were a few of you. Thank you. All right. Head on over to Geeky Geezers over on Aged Boomers channel. Join me tonight for The Other Side of Midnight. I've got the links out. There's going to be some surprise guests. I know of one person who's already going to be on, who's already confirmed. So join us there. Tomorrow night, and hello, Lady Mist. Tomorrow night, Mystery Movie Night at the Regal. Sin's Corner and I are going to be collaborating on a review of whatever that movie might be. And that is going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Also, Tuesday, a brand new episode of Live from Sparkwood in 21. Troy Pacelli, Netters Network, and Aged Boomer are going to be joining me, and we are going to be discussing episode 2 of season 2. And then, of course, Wednesday, I want to announce this. Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I am going to be joining Pacific 414 for this Wednesday's edition of Pop Talk. It will be my first appearance on that show. So please, everyone, get your notifications ready for when that show comes on, and I'll see you all there. And Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to be joining Jedi Bill for the next episode of Action Theater, and we are going to be watching Sylvester Stallone's Cliffhanger from 1993, Die Hard on a Mountain. So, very fun movie, and it still holds up today, so check it out. This was a good show. Thank you all for being here. From HQ, good night. Take care. Stay strong, because this is how we win.